Welcome back, everybody, to the True Development Podcast. My name is Brandon Burns. I'm here with my illustrious co-host, Jay Chase, and apparently he thinks that this is Good Morning America and that I am the director who's just giving him his lines. I sent him some notes ahead of time to be like, hey, here's what we should be talking about. Like, here's the topic of discussion for today. And he was just going over and reading my stuff, like my material word for word, as if I was just going to hand him his stuff. I don't understand how he got there. I don't understand how he got there, but nonetheless, welcome back to the True Development Podcast. Jay, how are you feeling other than like a thief?
Wow, he said a thief, bro. He took it there. I'm a lawyer up. Don't worry about it. No, I'm good, bro. I'm excited. I'm excited. Grateful to be back. You know, it's always a good time to be around you, Brandon.
You sound
good.
So professional.
Yeah. That's who I am. I'm a professional mofo. Bro. A P.O. mofo, professional mofo. That's who I am, bro.
You're ABC. A pomofo. You sound like an exotic Italian cuisine. A pomofo.
A pomofo.
Can
that's
I please get the pomofo?
Always. That's what you gonna get when we show up. Always be closing, bro. ABC. Always be closing. Like what?
Okay, Andy Elliott. You want me to take my shirt off?
I'm just saying. I'm professional.
Made me take my shirt off. You gotta have a six pack. You can't work for me.
I gotta get on that Brandon level of like workout in order to even try and be Andy Elliott.
Hey, here's the thing
I'm not there. There's some people who wake up and like love going to the gym. There's some people who sleep, dream, eat, think about, always want to be at the gym. And I'm not one of them people, bro. I'm telling you, I'm not too prideful to say it either. I'm not, bro. My shirt a little loose.
Here's what
it don't make me no less of a man. I go toe to toe with anyone.
But you don't have the habit built. It's not even the habit, it's the identity. So for me, with gymnastics, yes, I love doing gymnastics. I love practicing the sport. I would do that all day, every day. With regular working out, I actually don't like it nearly as much as people think that I do, but it's an identity thing. So if I don't do it in the course of a day, I literally do not feel like I am Brandon Burns. Like I don't feel like myself. Mentally, I'm messed up. Psychologically, I got brain fog. Like my body and brain and spirit are so accustomed to working out every single day, because every day does mean every day, that if I don't do it, I don't even feel like me. So you just got to get to a point where you build not a habit, but an identity that is self-reinforcing, right? Because you build the identity, and the identity pushes you to do the thing more. And the more you do the thing, the more you build an identity around it. And that now it's automatic and it's become a part of you. That's like even with speaking, right? Like I remember Auntie Val one time told me, because I watched her get up on stage with zero warning, with zero preparation, and just kill it. I was like, I don't understand how you do that. And she looked at me and said, when you do this, you can do this. And what she meant by that was, when you do this every day, when this is who you are, when every day means every day, then you can it comes out of you because it's who you are. It's not what you do. When you do this, then you can do this. So yeah, you just gotta do it. You just gotta be like Nike and just do it, Jay.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm not doing it enough. Not in my little 90-day sprints, I guess.
That's hilarious. You're not convinced by anything I just said at all. You're like, yeah, I guess I do. I guess I do.
I guess I do.
Okay.
When
you know what?
Start talking to me,
cut the whole last 4 minutes, because apparently I ain't say shit.
I thought I responded well. I'm like, yeah, bro, I've been doing it, every day for 90 days in increment. The whole program, I've been running it. Part of the commitment, work out an hour a day, get my exercise. I'm not saying I'm going to the gym, but it's working out. And what I've discovered over the past 7 years of doing this program and doing this framework, I still don't like the gym. I still don't like going. And it's not, I don't think it's just identity, but I just think that keeps me growing, knowing that like, yo, I'm doing something that I don't want to do. And I know that if I lie to myself, I'll lie to anybody. And so it's building on that foundation and building the discipline, right? And the person that I become within that discipline of doing it is a completely different person of the person that just doesn't like going and doesn't go, right? Because I think it was Huberman who told us that like we have a motivational part of our brain, right? And every time that we tell ourselves that we don't do something, then we do the thing that we don't like to do, it actually grows. And athletes, this muscle is extremely huge. It's very similar to resilience. And And athletes, they're always doing things that they don't want to do, working out, showing up to practice, doing the press days, doing all the things. And that muscle just continues to grow, and it builds your mental resilience and your discipline and your motivation to go after your dreams and goals. And so, like, as much as I don't like doing it, I'm checking my watch, making sure I'm getting my exercise in. I'm making sure that I'm showing up. I'm doing what I say that I'm going to do in order to build the discipline, not so much, look a certain way or give validation or lift an amount of weight. Absolutely not. I could care less about that. That's not going to leave any legacy for me. But building discipline that I can then transfer to a vision and business that I'm building, a community that I'm building, a project that we're building, something that we're selling, like then that's when it becomes important to me.
Yeah,
So like I'm convinced. I feel you. I'm just not passionate.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that a lot of people assume that they can compartmentalize success. That's why I was pressing you on the workout thing even like a year ago. I was like, bro, you got to start going to the gym with me, because you can't be hyper disciplined over here and then not disciplined at all over here. It just doesn't work that way. At some point, it's going to bleed over into the other aspects of your life. And like you said, it's not how you look, it's who you are. And so even for me, like there'll be certain days where I will deliberately design a workout that I can't stand, that I genuinely hate and just don't want to do. Like my VO2 max training days, those are the worst, the absolute worst. So VO2 max, Norwegian 4x4 protocol, you go as hard as you can, 4 minutes straight, just 4 minute on, 4 minute off intervals, 4 rounds of that. You go as hard as you can, just sprinting on a treadmill for 4 minutes, not full out sprint, because you wouldn't be able to do that for 4 minutes, but as fast as you can for 4 minutes, and then bring it back down for 4 minutes, and then just run that 4 times. Cannot stand it. Or here's a really good one. Start walking on a treadmill, 1 incline, 1 mile an hour, or 1, just the setting, 1 on your treadmill. Then go up to 2 incline, 2 miles an hour, 3 incline, 3 miles, after a minute of each interval.
I did that with you. About killed me.
Trash. It's trash.
Yeah.
But the reason you still got to do that stuff, even though, can I sit here and say that it is the most beneficial thing for you physically? Absolutely not. There's better things to do with your time. Is it the most beneficial for me personally? Yes, because I cannot stand it, and there's zero part of me that wants to do it. Zero part of me that wants to do it. And that's where you grow. That's where you convince yourself who you are. And a lot of people get in situations where they get tested, and then they're being tested on faith. I don't want to be in that situation. Like, oh, now I'm going through something in a relationship. Now I'm going through something in my business. Now I'm going through something with my health. I'm going through something in any avenue of my life. And I have to go through that test on the faith that I'm strong enough and that I'm tough enough and that I can make good decisions under stress and under pressure. I don't want to go through that under faith. Like, I believe in faith. Faith is the evidence of things, is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. However, I would like to go into that situation with some proof that I am who I say that I can handle what I think I can handle, because I've made the decisions over and over and over again to put myself in these stressful, uncomfortable situations. And because I've done that voluntarily, I'm prepared for it. So now, yes, still have your faith, but have something to back that faith up. In the real world, at least.
I was just reading James 2, dog. James 2 says that faith without good works is dead, right? And it talks about our judgment and discrimination, about if somebody looks better and being able to hold them in a higher standard than versus somebody who doesn't look better. But we have to always apply good works to our faith. Looking at the examples of Abraham, Joshua, Moses, rehab the process, looking at that faith that they had, it was paired with good action, right? And then that way that backed up the proof that God put into them to carry out his will and his word, right? Abraham, right, when he blessed him with many descendants, is because he had the faith that God would deliver him a son, right? But then he also put into action what God told him to do when he got up to go walk up that mountain and sacrifice his son, because he had the faith that God would bring him back because God gave it to him. So he paired faith with proof in his actions. And so faith without action is dead. So I 100% agree with that. I love it. B, what are we talking about? Faith in action today? What are we talking about today?
Maybe.
We just started going in. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going with that. And then we'll save, because that way it'll give you a chance to forget all the notes that I sent you about the previous topic. And then that way you won't be plagiarizing on episode 3. So episode 2 can be faith and works. Episode 3 can be about adapting and changing as a leader. How about that, Jay? How about that? Either
or, bro. Either or. I don't think. was trying to steal your notes. I was refreshing, bro. I was refreshing what we were going to talk about. I was refreshing.
Let me say this about faith and works, though, before we move on, if we move on. One of my buddies, Stacey Irvin, he's big in the fitness world. And I had him on the podcast, on my old podcast a long time ago, like 3 years ago. And he told me that faith moves mountains the same way that a bicycle moves mountains. He said, if you get on that bicycle and you pedal as hard as you can, the mountain moves right on underneath you. Right? And that really changed the way that I view faith, because it's like people think that just because they have a level of faith that everything is going to change. You can just sit there and faith your way into $1 million. You can faith your way into a 6-pack. You can faith your way into all these different things. And while the faith is a necessary prerequisite, it is necessary, but it is not sufficient. Because if you do not have the faith, then you would never take action to begin with. Because taking action assumes that I believe I will get a result or a payoff or an outcome from taking this action. Otherwise, you wouldn't take the action. It's not logical. So the faith is a prerequisite, but it is not the only thing that you need. You have to have the faith to get started and to attack the action item with the proper mentality and the proper level of effort, because you really think there's something on the other side of it. However, even if you have all of that faith, but there is no action, there is no attack, there is no effort, there is no intention, what do you think is going to happen? You can't sit there and meditate and feel good about yourself to a full bank account. It's not going to happen. So that quote really changed the way that I view that whole faith and work situation.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I think you wrapped that one up good. I think
that's all. You got nothing. You got nothing, Mr. Professional Speaker. You got nothing.
I mean, if we go talk to talk, and like you said, Auntie Val said, when you do this, you do this, right? 100%, right? And I can double down on that and just say
no. Yeah. No, it's okay.
Don't repeat what I just said in your own words, Jay.
Yeah, don't
do that. Go read my notes. Go read my notes. Read the cliff notes.
I'll tell you what. Let's go into our actual topic, because we did say that we're going to come into this with intention, right? And we have to apply our faith and show that. Yeah. Matter of fact, here's what's really interesting. I have a feeling that this is all going to tie in together, because I was talking to Ray the other day from the Mastermind. Mm-hmm. And Ray was saying, I forgot which word. It's either faith. It's either faith or learning. One of those two words. It's one of those two words. I can't remember which one. But he said, if you go back all the way and you look at the definition from ancient biblical times, whichever word that is, what it actually means is to listen and obey. And I thought that was so impactful, because similar to faith without works, listening without obeying, what are you doing? You're making yourself feel good. You're making yourself feel smart. But if you're not obeying, if you're not applying, what's the point of all these Bible thumpers running around here reading the Bible? What's the point of all these self-help addicts running around reading these books? And you listen, you process, but you never obey. You're like, yep, God, I heard exactly what you said. Let me get back to you on that. Yep, self-help book. I hear exactly what you're talking about. This is a fantastic principle, but I'm not going to apply it in my life. Faith without works, listening without obeying. What you think?
Let me ask you: Has that ever happened to you? Because I can tell you many times where I do it almost unintentionally, but because of conditioned behavior, right?
Yeah.
Believing in my insecurities more than I believe in my successes, my futures, and my significance. Like going back to what I've always known versus stepping out into the unknown and stepping out on faith, right? I've always fallen short. We're like, God, I heard you, but not right now. God, like I'm going through a transition right now where the Lord's beating on my door saying, hey, I need you to take this real estate exam. And I'm like, hold on, Lord. Don't you got to do like math, go back to school, get like prerequisite? Like I hear you, but am I turning my back to you because I'm not attacking it and having the faith that God's going to carry me through this, right? What about the background check, right? Lord, I got to pass. I've done, and I've made some mistakes. What if they tell me no? Like I'm saying all the what ifs, right? And I'm pretty sure anybody listening to this can resonate with this. Saying, That's where we have faith that God speaks to us, tells us what to do, directs our steps, plans our steps, brings the desires of our hearts to fruition. But when it comes to the obedience side of it, we want it on our time. We look at our watch and we say someday. Really, when someday doesn't actually come on the watch. It never strikes someday. The time's always right now. And when the Lord tells us something, it's time to act now, right? When the Lord said, all right, now take your son up to the mountain, Abraham, he did it the next morning. Could have tears in his eyes and all of this stuff, but he did it the next morning, because faith without works is dead. And being able to learn, being able to listen, to apply the information. You tell me all the time, he's like, Jay, you're an instant implementer, dog. It's because I want to see what works and what doesn't work. And I'm not going to waste my time on what doesn't work. But if we're sitting here just sitting on the information, none of it works. If we're not using it, none of it works. Knowledge is power, but implementation is the key to change.
Yeah. This is what happens to most people. Most people have more faith in their insecurities than they have faith in themselves or in God.
Yeah.
Most people believe, if you look at their behaviors, they actually are showing you that they believe more in their doubts, fears, and hesitations than they believe in the plan that God has for them. They believe more in their possibility of failure than they do in the possibility of success. That's what they believe in more. They have more practical faith. So if you are listening but not obeying, or if you're learning and not applying, it just means that you have more faith in you not being enough than faith in God carrying you through it. And so to me, that's where we get into that conversation of, is that really any type of faith at all? I don't know. There's a big part of me that says faith is binary. You have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go to God and be like, I have enough faith to think that you can get me through this situation, but not that situation. That's not faith.
I want to call it selective faith. All of it, right, doesn't work when it comes to our higher power, when it comes to the Lord, to do abiding by God's will, right? Because faith alone is insufficient. You know, down and out back in the day, when I got that notice, insufficient funds, that's just like operating on just faith. Gotta hear your prayer, right? The transaction might go through, but they're gonna hit you with that notice. Insufficient funds. You didn't have enough to carry this. Right now you owe us. And what does that owe look like? That owing us, owing the Lord, is that work that's tied to the faith. And James 2, I just read it this morning. It's crazy that we talking and having going deep on this, right? And that's just how the Spirit works, right? Thank you, Holy Spirit. The fact that faith alone is not enough for God. And then you have to pair that with your good works. And good works alone is not enough for God. You have to pair that with your faith. So it's an intricate formula in order to live, listen, and obey God's word.
Man, you know what I was thinking about yesterday was how many people are going to go through their lives following all the rules, doing all the right things that they're supposed to do, doing all the things that the church wants them to do, doing all the things that other people expect them to do, adhering to everybody's expectations, standards, appeasing all the other people's opinions, following all the rules. And then they get up there and God says, I don't know you.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot, because I think that there's a difference between being a rule follower and having a relationship. I think there's a difference between depth and doing what you're told to do. So I think there's even a third layer. I think there's listen, then there's apply or obey, and then there's why are you doing it? And what's the depth of relationship to your why? Because if you're just doing it to not get in trouble, I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if God's gonna get there and be like, yeah, I know you. I know your heart. We've communicated about that. Like, I think that's a different level. So it's listen, it's obey, and then it's what's the depth of the relationship to why you're obeying.
You know, some people may be confused when we say relationship, right? Some people, and like, how do you cultivate a relationship with the Lord? And I want everyone to think about their deepest, most intimate relationship. How do you communicate with that person in your life? How do you show up for that person in your life? How do you look at that person in your life? Like, how much you care? How can you express? How do you explain that relationship with that person? That's the type of relationship that you want to cultivate with the Lord. That's the type of relationship that you want. When Brandon says, how deep is it? Because we can all listen. We can all listen to hear the voice of God. We can all learn. We can all turn to the word, scriptures, to learn more from what God told us and explore in depth of what God told us. But how many of us can lead our ways into deepening the relationship that we have with the Lord? Right? The Holy Spirit knows our heart. The Holy Spirit is all knowing. He has all knowledge, omnipresent. Right? But it's up to us to be honest with what type of relationship we want to have with the Spirit, with the Lord, with God. All right. And so it's up to us to develop that every single time. And so that's communication. That's showing up holy. That's showing not HOLY, but WHOLE. Showing up whole with this Spirit in order to give ourselves. Showing up holy, right? Showing up whole, right? Not HOLY, but WHOLE, whole, our full selves, right? And revealing ourselves and saying, Lord, this is where I need help. You know, I do this probably every quarter when I go through my 7 equities, right? Mind, body, soul, intimate relationship, networking relationships, business and finance. I look at these areas of my life and I say, Lord, help in all areas. I rate them, I look at them, and I say, where do we need the most work, attention, and faith right now? Whichever one's the lowest. And so it's developing that relationship and letting God see the whole version of me, right? My prayer life might be great, but my finances are hurting. My finances are amazing, but my prayer life is hurting, right? Finances are good, I'm praying good, but my mindset, I'm always thinking negative about people, right? That's what we need to show up fully so the Lord can experience us and we can experience the Lord fully.
Yeah, that's so important because like you said, there's a difference between holy and holy. So there's a difference between this holier than thou mentality and the churchianity mentality versus, no, I'm a whole human. Here's everything. Let me put it all on the table and let me give my full self to this. That's what I mean when I say most people don't have faith. Like, faith should be binary. You either give your whole self to it or you don't. Anything in between is not faith. You can't say, God, I'm going to give my life to you, except this part.
Not this one.
What are you talking about? You gonna rip yourself apart? You gonna split your soul in two? What are you talking about? You gonna act like a lizard, just cut your tail off real quick? Here you go, God, I'm gonna keep this part. You can have everything else.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
So real quick, before we finish up, knowing what you know now, start over. What does that mean to you?
That means look at what you've built, and instead of adding more, strip down to what works. So often we get caught doing things that actually add no value to the vision, goal, or God's word. And we just keep adding more. And I remember when I first said this to you, B, I was like, yo, I don't need more coaching. I don't need more courses. I don't need more community. I don't need more of this. What do I need more of? I said, I don't think I need more of anything. I think it's time to strip away. Knowing what I know now, acquiring the information, knowledge, and power that I've acquired today. Start over. Redo it. A lot of people are so scared of starting over because they think they have to lose everything. They think they have to go through some extreme pain in order to change. You know, they say there's only 4 reasons why people change. 1, either they hurt enough, they have to. They see enough, they're inspired to. They learn enough, they choose to. Or they receive enough and they're able to. And 9 times out of 10, it's the first reason why people change. It's because they hurt enough that they have to, and they're forced into a position of change or wanting better or excruciating pain to where they turn to the Lord and say, Lord, do it your way. I've tried it my way, right? I've been there 2017 when I woke up in a jail cell. When I learn enough, I get to choose change. So knowing what you know now, start over, change, apply the knowledge learned, and move forward, get to the next level, not based off covering up past mistakes or avoiding mistakes, but by simply saying, this is what I want, and elevating to that level. and taking the knowledge that you already have versus trying to lose everything and then change. What does it mean to you when you hear that? Knowing what you know now, start over.
I was just thinking about the quote that you were talking about before we started filming today, which is the 3 C's, right? You got to make the choice to take a chance to make a change. And knowing what you know now, start over, to me, that just means, are you willing to make that choice? Because change does not happen by osmosis. I think that's where most people go wrong. People think that if I read this book, I will automatically change. If I meditate, I will automatically change. If I work out, I will automatically change. Now, there's a portion of that that's true, but are you changing to the capacity that you possibly could change? No, not without extra intention, not without wiping the slate clean and saying, now that I know this, I'm not going to leave it to chance that this information gets applied. I'm going to start over and rebuild this foundation using the new knowledge that I have now with effort and intentionality. And most people never get to that step. And they don't get to that step because of pride. Because they think, well, I'm so smart. Again, I read the book. It automatically, of course, I'm going to apply it. Why would I not? I'm a smart person. And I'm not saying that you're not smart, but I am saying that you're human. And that's not how human beings work. You have to approach things with intentionality. And it's that pride that's telling you, don't worry about it. All you got to do is just skim through the book. Just listen to the audiobook on 3x speed. You'll be fine. Of course you'll implement. Of course
Yo, when did that become a thing? 3x speed on audio. Like, bro, they think the faster you get through it, the more information you get.
It's like the auctioneers at the car auctions. Sold. It's like, I don't think you're really absorbing that.
How you go so fast? The whole computer
that
screen just
information.
froze on my end. Oh, B. You froze up.
So,
all right, you back.
Yeah, you back.
You froze
You back.
up
You
on
good.
me. Yeah. Did I freeze too on you?
Yeah, you froze super hard, but no, we're good. But no, man, it's just being able to intentionally apply the information. It's just being able to go back and be humble enough to start over. Because that's the thing too, it's the sunk cost fallacy. In economics, we talk about that all the time. After you sink a certain amount of money into something, or time, or energy, or any other type of investment, you say, well, I may as well see it through. You say, well, I may as well see where this goes. It's a sunk cost fallacy. You think that just because you put a lot into it already, that it would be counterproductive to go back and start over. No, that's the most productive thing that you could do, because you just paid down your ignorance tax. You just paid the cost of learning how to do it correctly. And instead of going back and then doing it correctly, you want to keep doing it the wrong way and making these tiny little incremental adjustments instead of going back and rebuilding the foundation using what you know now. Because in your mind, I've spent too much time, I've spent too much effort, I've done too much. No, you've been learning. So don't keep being stupid after you learned. Listen and apply. Listen and obey. If you don't make an adjustment, you haven't actually learned anything. You just collected more information on the shelves of your brain. But until you make an adjustment, you have not learned. Until you've changed your behavior, you have not learned. Until you adapt, you've not learned.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Making the adjustment. A lot of people give me credit for change, and I tell them all it was making the adjustment. And you understand, I'm a 2-time felon. I came back from, I grew up running from the cops, resisting arrest, DWIs. Like, I made a lot of bad choices. I made mistakes, right? But on my way to progress and change, I made also mistakes at full speed. Because I learned from my mistakes. And I know that making a mistake is the evidence and proof that I'm actually doing something. If I'm making a mistake towards building a business, that means I'm actually putting something in motion, that I'm trying. And I can learn from those mistakes, learn and apply, learn and obey. God's going to course correct you. God's going to discipline you if you're not en route. He's going to put you back on the right track. He's going to do it. But you got to be willing to learn from those mistakes and keep going. Don't quit. Don't keep making the same mistakes. Like, I like how people are like, I want to get to the next level, but I got to keep doing what I'm doing. What got you here is not going to get you there. Knowing what you know now we got to start over at a whole new level. We got to rebuild a whole new. I do it. I'm telling you, I do it about every 6 months. I was just talking about we in the middle of 2024. 6 months from now, it's going to be 2025. What do you want your life to look like in 2025? Oh, Jay, that's too far to think about. I don't know. I go day by day. Well, you're going to live day by day, and you're never, ever going to become who you want to become because you never set course or path in order to do those things or venture out far enough to start over and build up who you actually want to be and make the mistakes while doing it. Make it at full speed. At least when you make mistakes, you know you're doing something and you know you're growing towards something.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a coach one time, gymnastics coach at Michigan. He said, if you're not falling, which is our version of failing, right? In gymnastics, if you fall, you're failing. He said, if you're not falling during practice, you're not trying hard enough because you're not trying anything new. You're not stretching the boundaries of what you're capable of. And I think most people don't know how to fail forward. They're either crippled by it or they just fail. And like you said, they make the same mistake over and over and over again. So it's about failing forward, and it's about learning from those mistakes. It's about listening and applying, listening and obeying, not just listening for the sake of feeling smart.
Yeah. So I want to challenge everybody listening to this now. What have you learned, and what can you apply through this episode? Share it on Instagram, tag us. But like, what have you listened? Just listen, because I don't want you to just show up here and get information. Try to sit and get daily Sunday drive. I want you to take these principles and these strategies and these tools and tips that we put out here and go apply them and see what happens. See where the change is. See what adjustment you can make in your own life. B, you got anything else for him?
Nah, man, that's it. That's all. Says the clock on the wall. Go be amazing on purpose. Don't forget your purpose is amazing. We'll be back same time, same place next week. And until then, listen for the sake of applying. Listen for the sake of obeying. Faith without being obedient is fake faith. It's not real faith. It's hollow. It doesn't mean anything. You're going to get up there one day. God's going to say, I don't even know you. You did all the right things. Helped a lot of people. You lived a great life. But I don't know you. Because you did not obey. And you did not renew. You conformed to the patterns of the world. Romans 12:2. You did not be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because you did not obey. You did not change. You did not apply. You just learned. You just soaked up information. That's not valuable. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody else. Until next time, thank you so much for watching the True Development Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys. Bye.
There it is. Bye.
Bye.